So the question we're asking is, do we think Britain is ageist? And obviously your perspective might depend on your age, James, young, virile, and all of that, in your
Nearly
prime.
50 now.
It might, gosh, 49, right?
Well, 47.
47 or whatever, OK. But it might not. It might just depend on your life experience and what you do for a living and all of that kind of thing. So I might kick off with Susan, see what you think about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not quite as young as you, but not that far away. But I'm married to a man who's 20 years older than me. He's not in his 70s now. So I kind of see from his point of view certain things changing around. And I don't think Britain is ageist deliberately, but I do think there's an awful lot that goes on that just kind of doesn't take any concern for people as they age. Everything needs to be on an app, online banking, not being able to kind of deal with things personally. I've become my husband's app. If I'm with him, I do the Ringo parking or the pay by phone or whatever. He'll just go, pay for this. Or, we went to the theatre the other day and we got handed a card with the QR code and he just passed it to me because it's not because he can't do it. I don't think old people necessarily don't want to do those sort of things, older people, but I think sometimes they just don't want to be bothered and they think personal service is better. And I don't think they're wrong. And I think we erode that kind of personal service and doing things properly at our peril. Because although young people scoff at older people not doing certain things, we're all heading that way. And when we get older, there will be loads of things we don't know how to do because technology is changing all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, do get your calls in on this one now, 0207 862 2222. Do you find that it's an ageist world? Do you feel as if you're being sort of patted on the head as an older person and told, run along, dear? Or, do you want to sing along to yet another sing-along of the White Cliffs of Dover and you actually love Noddy Holder's music and the last thing you want Goodbye to Jane would be fine, thank you very much. You don't want flipping White Cliffs of Dover. It's not even the right age group or anything. There is definitely, I mean, maybe it's very different if you are Angela Rippon and everyone recognises you and everyone knows who you are, but I do think there's a tendency to kind of, I don't know, put all older people in the same kind of category and give them a pat on the head and say, you all right? You're having a nice time? You think, I'm perfectly capable of saying more than that, actually. That feeling.
Or talking in a very loud voice and assuming that you're deaf. Yeah. Yes, there's always that as well. I think some people and some organisations and some bits of government can be what you're talking about, which is patronising, basically, to older people. But on the whole, I think I like to think that my generation, from the 60s onwards, because we've all been more interested in keeping fit and our diet and how we look and what we do and what we want to do with our lives, that actually more and more of it. I mean, I'm now 80, so that we're doing things in our later years that mean that it's really difficult then for people to be ageist towards you. And so I hope that ageism will gradually die out. But yes, I think in certain areas of government, there's a patronising attitude of ageism towards us, certainly.
So do I. Yes. And also, I think it's an attempt to divide people into the young against the old.
Very much so.
These rich pensioners who are living off the fat of the land and these poor younger people who are struggling. It's not that the younger people are not struggling, but it's certainly true that there are many pensioners who are struggling dreadfully after a whole life of work.
Treating pensions as though it's a benefit. It's not. It's something they have paid for. It's not a benefit. And I think all those sort of things that young people do get quite upset about because they're having such a hard time, can't get on the property ladder, which is all kind of well and good. But you can't then take it away from the pensions because when those people become pensioners, they will regret that. They will regret the fact that they've thrown all that away.
And the pensioners went through that anyway when they were younger.
Of course they did.
I wondered, James, if it's kind of more pointed in a way, if what you do is very physical. And obviously, you look great, you're age-defying, and yet age is age, isn't it? Is it something that kind of hangs over you in a different way if your job is a physical, athletic kind of a job?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, take Strictly, for example. I did Strictly for 8 years, but you get to a certain point in your career. I mean, I knew when I started Strictly that it wasn't going to last forever because everyone has a shelf life as a dancer, whether you're a footballer, a gymnast, whatever it is. If you're in that kind of work, you can't do it forever because you get to a certain age where you can't do what you did when you were younger. I accept that. I still find it difficult, the fact that I can't do what I used to do when I was younger, but I still accept it. And kind of you move over, and I love watching the younger people now, and Strictly has moved on. It's more dynamic, it's faster, they're more exuberant. But yeah, it's still tough
But
because
you certainly proved your, in inverted commas, relevance when you just went on and won Dancing on Ice, which wasn't even meant to be what you were supposed to be able to do, and you really slammed that
the
one,
oldest
didn't you?
winner ever on Dancing on Ice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But I think that was more my mentality from Strictly, because I knew about the training.
Yeah.
I knew how hard I wanted to work. So if you are an athlete or a sports person or a dancer or something, I think you go into it with a slightly different mindset as well. But that doesn't make it ageist. It's just the fact of life that I can't do what I did when I was younger. But you're an anomaly that you went on Strictly and you proved that at whatever age you can still get to a certain level.
Totally.
Imagine what you would have done if you was like 25. You would have been the best person ever on Strictly. Oh my God! Imagine where your leg would have gone.
Stop it!
You would have been over there.
I'm too young. I can't imagine that. That's too much for me.
But you're right. I mean, Guy, as you know, he's 51 years younger than me. You know, I'm older than his mother. His father was 7 when I did Morecambe and Wise. So I mean, I'm older than his mum. I'm his granny, really. But I mean, we do get on like a house on fire.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do.
And as
it's
a
amazing.
viewer, watching people like you, and I think we looked at Pamela Stevenson, that
Yes.
was your
Yes.
partner, and I found her really inspirational as well.
amazing.
Just to kind of watch those sort of people. I think it does kind of give people, as we're kind of all kind of watching those people ahead of us,
I
thinking,
want to go to Paul. He's on the line in Staffordshire. Hi, Paul. Thanks for ringing. How are you?
Yeah. And Angela and Sue and James as well. Great stuff. Great panel.
Good, good.
The question I
What do you want to say about ageism, my love?
Ageism, you achieve a lot of things when you get older, I think, like Eric and Morecambe and Lily Wise. They can achieve things in the old age. And I think with Angela, do you think Angela, the best moments on television, do you think, Angela, Eric and Morecambe and Lily Wise, do you think, Angela?
I mean, I think Eric and Anne, I mean, people ask me this all the time, what were they like? I mean, I think we all recognise that they were probably 2 of the greatest comics we've ever produced, because their comedy, first of all, is timeless. You know, there are young people that weren't even born when Eric died in 1984, who will watch their programmes now and absolutely love them. But the great thing about their comedy was that it was ageless. It was never crude. It was never spiteful. It was never unkind to people. It was just funny.
I'll just tell you what was going on during the break, because I don't want you to miss any of the conversation here. And what was going on in the break, really, you three, was oh my God, the difficulty, James, of actually getting anyone to speak to on the phone when something goes wrong.
Yeah, it's like everything now is online. You want to find out something, or you're trying to fill something out online and you're unsure, and you try to find a telephone number to call that person and just have a chat with a human being.
Yes.
It's just so difficult nowadays.
And Angela, to get a parcel delivered, we won't say what you were having delivered.
Oh, I won't begin to tell you what the problems are. In the end, because they insist on keep delivering it when I'm at work, I have actually written them a note and put it to the door and said, you know, Rory, he's called, the man who's going to... Rory, I'm at
Rory,
work.
if you're listening, please deliver Angela's parcel.
Rory, if you're watching television, why aren't you delivering Angela's parcel? She's still waiting for it for good. Rory, come on, just deliver it. Give it to the neighbour. That's what she wants you to do, for heaven's sake. I mean, it is very frustrating. Let's talk to Sharon in Staffordshire. Hi, Sharon.
Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Vanessa. It's always a pleasure, and your panel there.
You're very
now,
nice.
Vanessa. I don't think Britain is ageist. I think it all depends on the individual. I think if you're going to make yourself old, then you'll be old. That lovely lady there, what's her name again? She's a prime example.
Angela? Suzan? They're all lovely.
Sorry,
They're all
Angela,
gorgeous.
I've got your name. Sorry, Angela, and you're such an icon, and I couldn't remember your name. I'm so sorry. But I think it depends on how you are and how you feel, because I'm 66, I retired, and I still go in to help them out at work still. I still go to the gym. I still keep myself active, and I don't feel old. I can give any young person a run for their money. I really can, you know.
What is the work that you go in and help them with?
I'm a senior nurse, but I've retired, but I go back and help them out.
So do you go in and help out on the ward still, do you?
Yes, I go back and help out on the wards, or I have bleed cover or in charge cover. I still go back and help them out still.
I think one of the places, Sharon, that people say they are made to feel old and irrelevant can in fact be hospital, that they are kind of treated as an old person and kind of marginalised and, you know, patronised, as Angela says. And I've heard of people putting photographs up by the bed of their mum and dad when they were at their peak and in their prime, saying this isn't just an old biddy. You know, this is someone who was a lawyer, someone who was a geography teacher, somebody who was a bank manager. Don't treat them like this. They are people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your point before about kind of the way we're kind of shown pictures of people, or adverts kind of cast people in a certain way, that for some reason you get to be a granny. And I mean, I've got 2 step-grandchildren, but I have never, the Joe Loss Orchestra is not my music of choice, you know what I mean? And it's fine if that is, and you can do that, but we still have this kind of image that goes with grandparents, that you're just eating a Werther's Original and listening to Second World War music.
I wish we had some Werther's Original. I'd love a Werther's Original.
Nothing wrong with them.
Does that make me old?
As the caller said, I do think it's down to the individual, and we were speaking about it earlier. It like, for example, my mum. Take my mum. She's in her 70s. She still likes going out and playing golf and walking around the golf course. You've got to keep yourself active. You've got to have other interests. If you're just sitting at home and just watching TV and just pottering around, I do believe that it affects you. You need to have things, the zest for life. The lady still goes to the gym. All these things are important as you get older. So I do think it's people's choices as well.
Yeah, I can give you a wonderful example, because I do a lot of work in the dementia community, as you probably know. And there's a lovely little book that was done by a great guy who put together all sorts of sayings that people with dementia have said. And one of them was an elderly lady. And I've seen this for myself. When schools very often go into care homes, they sing things like "Pack up your troubles in your own kit bag" and "White Cliffs of Dover." And there's this wonderful cartoon, and this woman is saying, "I haven't got a kit bag. I have never been to the White Cliffs of Dover. Why won't you play me the Who?"
Yeah, exactly. But I bet Noddy feels the same, doesn't he?
Absolutely, of course. I mean, he's still a rock god. You know what I mean? And he always will be. Once you are, you always will be.
Totally.
There is no time. Somebody actually said to me the other day, "Oh, is he keeping himself busy?" And I was like, "He's not pottering around the garden watering the marigolds. He's not even blooming older. What do you think he's doing?"
Yeah.
He's like, he plays guitar and he kind of, he's into. You are who you are, but you have to remember that yourself.
But I've got to say, I think lots of people don't think that. I think they think that when you get older, you morph into this old person that is not the same. That's when they say, "Oh, do elderly people still want to have sex?" And I say, do they still want to have ice cream?
Yeah.
If you like sex, you still like sex. If you liked ice cream, you like ice cream. If you're good at dancing, you're still good at dancing. You don't become an old person that just wants to knit something. If you always like knitting, you still want to knit. You don't suddenly want to. I feel quite strongly about this, as you can probably tell.
And I think TV and radio kind of have made mistakes about this. I mean, they get rid of older presenters and they put on music that for young people. And actually, it's older people who are driving a lot of the interest of what shows they want to watch, what shows they want to listen to. Boom Radio is a good example of that. That they've actually they're booming because all the people who have been kind of disenfranchised by the BBC are now going to listen to the music they want.
Go the old people.
I'd like you to look down the camera and say happy birthday, because our caller is Joanne in Nottinghamshire, and it's her 59th birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Joanne.
Happy birthday, Joanne.
Happy birthday. They're all waving at you. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Yeah?
I'm a good day, thank you.
Good. And how do you feel about ageism? Are you starting to notice it today?
I don't feel my age, obviously, but I do think society, whatever you want to call it, they are quite ageist. I'm still a good-looking old lady.
I don't think you're an old lady.
You're still a baby at 59.
We think you're a baby. But do you feel as if people are treating you as if you're not?
I want to still go to the high street and go to my bank and pay my bills. I think it's hard now for people old people, like I say, I'm 59 today, but I class myself an old person. I like to go to the high street, do my shopping, go to the bank, pay my bills.
Yeah, like anyone else.
difficult.
Obviously you do. Listen, have a great day. I hope you've got more planned for your birthday than just going to the high street and paying your bills. Have some cake, for God's sake. That's the thing to start it. Kick off with the cake and it should all go up from there. Happy birthday. All right.